An urgent cleanup operation now underway after a ruptured pipeline spilled thousands of barrels of Canadian crude oil into an Arkansas suburb this weekend. There are more than 160,000 miles of pipelines crisscrossing the United States, carrying oil, gasoline, other hazardous liquids. Another 2 million miles of pipelines carrying natural gas. So what's the impact for the hotly debated Keystone XL pipeline that would carry the same kind of oil that spilled into Arkansas? Lisa Sylvester is coming into the Situation Room. She's been looking at this story for us. And what is going on?
Well, Wolf, I can tell you that until this pipeline ruptured, many of the folks who live there said they did not even know there was an oil pipeline near their neighborhood. We don't know the cause of the breach yet, but it is raising questions about whether the White House should move forward on another controversial new pipeline. Crude oil spewed out of the ExxonMobil pipeline, coiling its way through a suburban neighborhood in Mayflower, Arkansas, some of it ending up at a nearby creek. But work crews were able to stop the oil from reaching Lake Conway, a popular fishing spot. But even after an around-the-clock cleanup effort, a thick tar remained on residential streets. 22 homes were evacuated.
When I got here, you could have canoed down the street. There was so much oil running down through there. It was a mess. And even after they had evidently shut it off somewhere on upstream, if you will, there was still a lot of oil flowing down the street.
The Environmental Protection Agency has categorized this breach as a major spill. The Pegasus pipeline can carry more than 90,000 barrels of heavy crude oil per day from Illinois to Texas. Exxon did not put a hard estimate on the number of barrels of oil that spilled, except to say it was a few thousand. The cause of the pipeline rupture is still under investigation.
We are working as rapidly as possible to get this cleaned up and to get people's lives back to normal. We will allow people in when the state agrees that it is safe and appropriate for people to come back and occupy their homes again.
There are 160,000 miles of pipeline crisscrossing the United States. The Arkansas oil spill comes as President Obama is weighing whether to approve a new Keystone XL pipeline, 1,700 miles of pipeline carrying 700,000 barrels of crude a day, stretching through the country's heartland. The Keystone pipeline carries a dense Canadian tar sands oil. Critics say this lower quality oil can corrode over time.
Keystone XL is a dirty and dangerous pipeline. It's literally going to cut our country in half, carrying a very dangerous fuel, and it will cause runaway climate change.
Keystone's proponents, however, say it would lessen U.S. dependence on oil from the Middle East, and they argue transporting oil by pipeline is far safer than by road or rail.
It would be equipped with 16,000 sensors that would monitor the flow of the oil, so they knew if there was any abnormal activity, it would shut down quickly. Not to mention that they studied all of the other risks to wildlife and vegetation and concluded this pipeline would be safe.
For the families in Arkansas, that debate might seem like a million miles away. The most immediate question on their mind, when can they return home? And authorities are monitoring air quality 24 hours a day now. The Environmental Protection Agency is also on the scene, and you can tell why when you see these pictures. It is clear that it is going to be a while before some of those folks can return home. Exxon is putting residents up in their hotel, and they are also boarding their pets. But boy, oh boy, just looking at those pictures, Wolf, what a mess.
Yeah, this pipeline in Arkansas was pretty old, right?
Yeah, it's about 40 years old. And, you know, this is part of the whole debate of where do we go in terms of adding more pipeline over the years. And President Obama, it's up to him to make the decision now on Keystone.
Yeah, and the proponents of Keystone say this would be a brand new, highly efficient pipeline, state-of-the-art safety procedures, as opposed to these old ones that might have some problems.
Well, and that's part of the whole argument, too, is that they said as the alternative, if you're going to transport it by road or transport it by rail, that this is actually a safer. But, again, environmentalists very much opposed to Keystone.
It's a fierce debate. We'll see what the President of the United States, he will make this decision.
That's right.
Fairly soon. Thanks very much. Coming up, if you thought a new gun control law would be a tough sell, you were right. But you might be surprised at where some GOP senators are drawing the line. And a hit reality show suffers a blow, leaving fans wondering what happened. Stay with us.